Hi, everyone. Welcome to Coffee Conversations with Inspiring Artists series. My name is Simona Smirnova. I started doing these coffee conversations as a way to reconnect with my friends and with my colleagues, people I look up to, people who are doing inspiring things around the world. I've been feeling this lack of connection, of course, as we all do, because we cannot perform together. We cannot travel and visit each other. We cannot rehearse together and just hang out, and everyone left the cities. And I just thought it would be nice to reconnect with all my friends from college and from, in general, music world and art world. And then I thought, why I cannot share this coffee conversation with everyone who is also following the arts, following the inspirational path. So it's not only for artists, it's not only about art, it's about manifesting the life of integrity, I would say it like that. And people who I've seen doing it and going through ups and downs and creating new things and creating opportunities not only for themselves but also for other people. These people really inspiring to me, and I'm happy to have them almost every Saturday at 12:30 New York time. And so far, I've talked to Cuban pianist Zaily Gonzalez Zamora. I talked to what? Oh, I pinned you. Hold on. Gallery, unpinned. Okay, I talked to Australian harpist, singer-songwriter, composer Allegra Kramer. I talked to American oud player and vocalist composer Aliyah Saikon, to Japanese arranger, trombone player Yoshi Nakayama, and my last one was, what am I missing? Esther, who was my last one?
Maria Fajardo.
Maria Fajardo, thank you. Maria Fajardo, a jazz singer, Spanish jazz singer who lives in Nepal and teaches at Kathmandu Conservatory. So today, I'm very happy and honored to present my guest, also my friend from Berkeley, Ester Wiesnerova. I will bring her to the view. And Esther, we met at Berkeley, I think, in 2013, and Berkeley had this like a small world for jazz singers, so we got to know each other pretty fast, and just in workshops and vocal department. Esther, I think you worked at vocal department as well, and different clinics and classes and just performances around. And Esther always inspired me how seriously she thinks about music and seriously thinks about jazz, because a lot of vocalists, they try jazz, they try something they would like to learn or educate themselves or maybe incorporate some elements of jazz, but there's not that many people who are actually going in for the style of jazz, for actually learning the vocabulary and being a jazz vocalist and composer. And Esther was that, and it was very inspiring to see how seriously she thinks about music and the practice and her dedication throughout life, and the story we shared in Pavement with each other, and both coming from kind of similar part of the world, not completely neighboring, but still similar part of the world, also connected us in this way. And so I want to introduce my guest today, Ester Wiesnerova. Say hi, and where are you now, and what time is it?
So thank you, Simona. Hi from Slovakia, tiny town of Partizanske in Slovakia, which I'm sure you've never heard of. And it is 6:34 p.m. here. So I'm not having a coffee, but I'm having my water with you because I wouldn't fall asleep if I had coffee.
So cheers to coffee and to water, and whoever is making their own coffee or water or tea, please grab, because we are going to have a nice half an hour, 40-minute talk about art life, about music, about composing, about going for your own path, not the one which is imposed by others, but the one we actually are called to do. So thank you so much, Esther. I'm so happy to reconnect with you, and it's amazing to have internet because we can reconnect even if you're in Slovakia in different time zones. So, and I'm currently in New York. It's 12:35 p.m. here. So Esther, we will start from the very beginning. Would you mind sharing with people who are watching how in Slovakia, were you born in this town where you're at right now? Because it's your parents. Okay, so being from a small town in Slovakia, how did you come across the idea to be a musician, a pianist, a vocalist, and how jazz came into picture? Could you tell us a little bit about your life story in terms of music and the decision to choose music as your path?
Yeah. So I think it all started with my mom, who is a songwriter and a classical pianist and a music teacher. She teaches at a local music school here, teaches piano. She wrote during the totalitarian regime in Slovakia about I think she recorded 12 albums, and most of it was her music. So she wrote a lot of songs about freedom, spiritual songs, which would be illegally distributed throughout the country. And I grew up listening to this and listening to her music and listening to her making music at home. She was actually recording an album while she was pregnant with me.
Wow.
So yeah,
That's amazing.
I think there's been a lot of music around always. Mostly classical music is what she would listen to, but what she would create was really like a singer-songwriter style. So I think that's where I got across, the very creative way to look at music, because otherwise really the only style I would encounter here is classical music. That's all that's taught at schools, really. And jazz, I think my mom always really admired and was something she would absolutely study if she could. But unfortunately, since it was seen as a Western style, it was not allowed here, like to the point that the government would take saxophones for musicians and exchange them for bassoons.
Oh my God.
Really?
I know, actually, speaking of that communist time, I've seen these posters in Lithuania where it says, who plays saxophone today will betray country tomorrow. That's an intense one.
That point. Yeah, I think it's really interesting how pretty much all dictatorships were afraid of jazz and afraid of improvisation. And I did a little bit of research on that, what it does to the brain and how it allows people to think outside of the box and think creatively. And I think that's why it was very scary for them. So to come back to my story, I think through her, I encountered a little bit of jazz. Like she would have me listen to jazz singers, and she would tell me this is improvisation and this is the singer making up her own story and in the song. And I really liked that. I always did. I loved the rhythm of it. I think I was always very rhythmically driven. Like even in classical music, it's something I often missed. That I liked the freedom of the line and of yeah, I think I like some of the freedom that classical music offers as well in terms of phrasing. But I loved groove. Like when there was groove, was my favorite piece immediately. So yeah, I think that's how jazz came around. And then I studied piano only with my mom since I was about 5. And
so did you start music in the music school where your mom taught piano lessons?
Yes, I was a different teacher.
You didn't want to learn from your mom?
She taught me at home, but we thought it would be better if there's like a different
yeah, a lot of actually music teachers prefer that someone else would come and teach their kids. Yeah, I get that.
She would still practice with me at home, though. There were practice charts where I would color in how much I practiced that day and all kinds of things. So wow. She really made me work it. Yeah, but that was just piano. I never thought I would sing. And then she started a kids band where I started singing and where I got really exposed to all kinds of genres. And
how old you were when you started singing like more seriously?
I started taking voice lessons when I was 12, but this band started when I was 5. So we would have like regular meetings and rehearsals weekly, and we would perform quite a bit. And this was mostly at like nursery homes or in a prison, or like more beneficial kind of events. We started this regular holiday concerts for the town that would benefit the disabled. So she would do a lot of things like this, and I think that's when I chose to do music professionally as well, to answer the second part of your question. Just because I saw how powerful it is and what it does to human lives, and I was like, wow, if I can be a part of, you know, this big amazing thing that can completely transform how people feel or how they see things, and that's what really, like, that changes everything. Like if someone's perception changes, that changes everything. I thought that's incredibly powerful, and I want to do that in my life.
Wasn't there like one particular moment where you really, first time you witnessed the power of music and how strong it is? Would you recall like one beginning moment?
We were playing at a psychiatric hospital, and I remember the nurses telling us that after the concert they don't need to give the patients pills. Like about half of the patients who were on a lighter medicine, that covers it.
Oh my God, I got goosebumps
I
all over. Oh my God.
We were kids. Like we were playing kids songs. Like it wasn't any amazing quality, but just the sense of community that's created through it. Yeah, did this much for the people. And also, I mean, I could see it on their faces as well, that there's a different person entering the room before the concert, a different person coming out. Like they looked different, and I also, talking to them, I could hear how much the music meant for them.
Yeah.
So
it's also pretty unique that you were exposed to such such reality as being a child, like going in psychiatric hospital or a prison or nursing homes. It's not very common for a child to be exposed to so many circumstances in art way. So in that way, I guess you were very, you know, fortunate, because it probably did some impact on your choices after, and formed you as a person, made you more mature. Would you agree?
Definitely. I mean, I think it definitely changed how I see people in general, and how much environment impacts a person. Like I think mostly in the prisons, you know, I got to have some conversations with the women there. This was a women's prison, and I, with pretty much with all of them, my biggest takeaway was that, wow, like I could absolutely be in their shoes. Like if I was raised in that family, if I met the people they met, like I can see myself thinking the same way and doing the same things. So I think this was the biggest takeaway, and in the future I can see how it helped me adjust to a lot of different cultures and different ways of thinking, because I was already used to quite a variety of backgrounds, and understanding how that influences a personality.
Yeah, that is beautiful, and that is definitely very inspiring. And as the name of these meetings is, well, coffee is not for me to promote coffee, but just impose some sort of informal idea. But the inspiring artists is because they are inspiring, because these stories, they're so unique. You can't just come up with them, you know. They just happen, and this is beautiful. And I feel like, you know, you have this presence of empathy, and I recognize that while, you know, we were friends at Berkeley, and we became friends at Berkeley. That the presence of empathy, a presence of larger calling, wider calling, rather than serving just music, which is also another calling, but serving music and people, you know, the society. And I love that, and I definitely appreciate it, and I can't wait to see how all of this, you know, grows and unfolds in beautiful ways in your life. So for those who are just joined, I want to say that if you guys have a question or a comment, please comment below. And we actually just had a comment from Flory. Do you know Flory? Namir? Yeah, she wrote amazing. So thanks, Flory, for watching, for joining us. And Ester is a jazz vocalist, composer, improviser, and educator, and she's currently in Slovakia. So if you guys have a question or a comment, please comment below. Now let's pick up to jazz, okay? So tell me, how did you actually make a decision to go for a jazz vocalist path? And well, I can relate to that because I also was in a small town, and jazz, like, you go to the library and there's no books or no charts and no theory. So you just have to kind of find people who've been curious and might have collected something by traveling. So tell me about your journey to jazz.
So how it really started was with my mom again, who's calling me right now, and I'm trying to decline the call. She sent a recording of me singing and her playing to this jazz competition. It's the only jazz competition in the country, of course. There I was marked as the best newcomer of the year.
Ooh!
And then, you know, there were about 6 participants in the competition. Each of them obviously got a prize. So it really wasn't that prestigious, but it really encouraged me at that time, and it made me more curious, because it wasn't just something I would be exposed to naturally, as you said and as I said before. So what I did was Googling. So I Googled how to practice jazz, how to sing jazz, what is jazz.
How old you were then?
So I was already at the music-focused secondary school, which I chose. So I was about 15. When I won the competition. Yeah, and I was just downloading a lot of textbooks, and I noticed a lot of them are Berkeley Press, so pressed at Berkeley. And so I Googled this Berkeley because apparently it's a place where a lot of textbooks are printed, and I noticed that it's not only a place where textbooks are printed, but it's a great school. And I think it became my motor, or like a motivator throughout all this. So I signed up for all kinds of newsletters they sent, and every once in a while I would get an email from Berkeley, and you know, if there was like a new video of the students out or anything, I would always watch it, and I would be like, okay, so somewhere in the world, like, this is happening. So this is my standard, and I want to get there, and I want to sing like they sing, and I want to compose like they do. Because what was happening at my school was in a very different style, and I was actually studying theater at the time because it was the only way to get around to more contemporary kind of singing, and there was only opera. So I was in a very different group of people, and I think this kept me going and researching more. And then I found some musicians who I played with, and especially one mentor, a saxophone player, bass sax player, who started a band with me. And they were all professional musicians in their 40s. I have no idea why they really played with me, you know, because I was a high school student. But that's where I really learned so much, just by playing with them, and by them being patient, sometimes not so patient, that they also told me quite some things, but it was good. Like, I learned so much from them and from playing with them.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, from your personality and how I've encountered you at Berkeley, you always were very responsible, you know, like a good student. So I assume you had really good grades from high school, and you probably had a potential of going to more choosing practical majors, such as, I don't know, I guess, like, you know, science or something like that. So am I right? Am I assuming it right? Yeah, because you look like a straight A student, and although I don't think, have we actually taken a class together?
I don't think so.
No, but we just always were meeting each other in the voice department. But yeah, that personality of, you know, a good student. So was there any other thoughts of choosing another major because of good grades and potential to pick something probably what will bring more money? And what was that? And how did you overcome that thought?
There wasn't really the thought on my end, but more from people around me who thought. So I was at this very academic school before choosing this music-focused high school. That was rigorous, kind of like hard, but great. And my parents really wanted me to continue
Music?
No, to continue in that academic school.
Oh.
And a lot of people around me as well, because how it works is that the kids when they're 9, they can enter this high school level academic school, and then they continue until they graduate high school. So it's like an extended high school. So I was already there. I could have just continued. I didn't have to go to any other high school. Does it make sense?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And I chose to leave, and I chose to go to this arts high school, which was also away from my town. So what that meant is, as a 14-year-old, I left my house with my parents, and I went to a dorm, sharing a room with 3 other girls, sharing a bathroom with 8 girls. And yeah, and it was it was crazy. They had very little control over what we do. Like nobody really cared what was happening in the.
And you were 14 at that time.
I was 14. I was 14. I'm also an only child, so there was stronger. I'm very close to my parents still, so it really wasn't an easy decision for them. Studying something with possibly little potential, and also me going away, and they don't know what happens. And so how we did it is that when I did the entrance exam for the school, because there's an entrance exam that one needs to pass, is they told me that only if I will be among the first 3 accepted, like with the highest score in the entrance exam, I can go in. Which was difficult for me because I want to study acting. And this is not something I'd experienced with before. Like there was a dance exam, there was an acting exam, which was the highest, like the biggest thing on the exam, and singing was just like 10% of this. And but it happened. So I was among the first 3, and that's when they told me, okay, you can go and study this. And I'm actually really glad though that we talked about it so much, and it really wasn't easy to just go, because I think then I appreciated more just to be able to be there. And I also felt like I need to prove that I'm worth being there, and that I can really make a living with this.
14 years old.
I know. It could have gone in all kinds of ways.
So you graduated from that art high school when you were 18, and did you go straight to Berkeley, or you studied somewhere else?
I went straight.
You went straight to Berkeley. Okay, so you got there pretty young at Berkeley. And you studied, what was your major at Berkeley, by the way?
I was dual major, performance and jazz composition.
Performance and jazz composition. And then after graduation from Berkeley, you went for master's degree in jazz composition in New England Conservatory.
That's right.
So you have like 3 degrees now. So tell me, well, congratulations on graduating from your master's, by the way, because this is pretty recent. You graduated like what? A couple months ago.
Graduation this May,
Woohoo! That's a big thing. Wow, that's amazing. And your graduation piece was an orchestral work where you sang and conducted. It sounded beautiful, and I wish I could have been there to see it, but it was in Boston. So tell a little bit about your experience. Either you can pick the Berkeley on NEC or overall studying abroad music. How did you feel being a music student there? And I guess the challenges and the beautiful aspects of it, the positive side.
So I went there when I was 18, again, as I mentioned, and this was me alone for the first time on a new continent, speaking a new language, with very little money. And my original plan was going for 1 semester, because that was all I found sponsors for. And I thought I would be going home after that. Like, there was no way I'm staying. And I know this was a similar story with you, that there was always
Yeah.
always uncertainty regarding money. But then again, as I said, with the high school, like, I think this aspect made me work so much harder, because I knew that I might be leaving in 4 months. Then I felt like I need to get everything I get out of here, and I think I really did. Like, I worked very hard, and I think if I continued working like that, it would have some serious impacts on my health. It already did a little bit. But looking back, I think it was the best thing I could do at the place where I was. So I think it taught me a lot of discipline, really heavy work ethic, which is in the US. Like, people work so much harder than here in Europe. I feel like. I think it also taught me more of a commercial view on music, because in Europe it's a lot about high art, and not caring as much about what people think, which is also connected to the way art is funded here, because much more by the government grants, as opposed to people paying for, going to concerts or buying something. Yeah, I think those are the main things that come to my mind.
So were you studying at Berkeley for 4 years, right? And then 1 year or 2 years at NEC?
Two.
Well, 2 years at NEC.
I did 1 year, then I took a break, and then I did the second year.
So, okay, now you are all diplomified. You have all the diplomas in jazz composition and singing. And tell me about your work. Like, when you now, as a professional musician, what are the themes you're trying to explore with your composition or singing, and how do you manage put that into practice in between composing and performing as a vocalist?
So in terms of themes, I think I was always interested in making it personal, and making it very much my own. So a lot of what I write are really songs about all kinds of my experiences or experiences of my friends, and I care a lot about lyrics, and it took me a long time to figure them out in English. So I think this was the biggest part of my NEC experience, actually. I was working a lot on lyrics. Then in terms of, sorry, what was our second question?
How do you manage to balance the practice between composition and voice?
Yeah, I think I try to do a bit of both each day. So write something, and work on my technique mostly. It's really like a lifelong thing. Sorry.
Could you tell about the final piece, the piece, for your masters at NEC, like orchestral piece?
Oh, there were a lot of them, actually. So my final recital was a part of it. There were three pieces with a jazz trio and a string quartet, and these were Slovakian traditional songs, mostly arranged into kind of like standard jazz arrangements. Then there were two pieces for four horns and the rhythm section, and those were like my kind of contemporary jazz music. Then there were three singer-songwriter pieces, which were with the harp, percussion, and the tenor sax, and these were the intimate kind of music which I'm looking to record these days. And then there were two big band pieces which I sang on. One I conducted as well and sang, and then the last one with a big band and a string quartet. So that was like the grand biggest piece.
Amazing. Congratulations. It sounds like a lot of time near finale.
Yeah, yeah, but I really like it. I really like writing for large ensembles. It takes so much time, but it's so fun.
So at this point, like, do you get people reaching out to you, like from Slovakia, like younger aspiring musicians who are asking for advice, maybe?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
mostly about studying abroad.
And would you have, well, I asked about Slovakia, people from Slovakia, but overall, like, would you, now when you've gone through this journey of education, bachelor's and master's abroad, from European perspective, would you have an advice for people from this region, let's say just Europe overall, if they're trying to aspire the same path? Would you have an advice for them?
Well, things are changing here, so now I'm starting a school here for them. So my advice would be come to my school and study.
Exactly. Let's bring. Nice. Eyes on the prize, Esther. I like that. I like that. So, okay, tell us about your new school. This is the biggest current project you're working on right now, right?
Yeah, that's the biggest long-term project.
Okay, well, tell us all about it.
Yeah, so besides composing and singing, I really love teaching, and I really see it as like 3/3 of what the third third of what I do. And I have a nonprofit here in Slovakia, and I started with 3 other women who also did the same thing as I did. So they wanted to study jazz or contemporary music. They had no chance to do it here. They went abroad, and we all met at one point. We're all the same age even, and we realized that we've all missed the same thing while we were at home, and that we want to change it. So what we do right now is we organize regular workshops. There's a summer workshop, 5 days long. We rent out a castle, and we yeah, and we.
Why to rent a studio if you can rent a castle?
In Slovakia, it's really not a big deal. There's so many of them. And we fit about 50 high school students in there with 8 lecturers and 4 guests who are all professionals on the music scene, contemporary music scene, who are all young and are very inspiring and encourage the students. And not only like go there and teach a lesson and go home, but we all stay there. We eat together and like really share kind of life to some point. And the students are really inspired. They each create a composition during the time. They each improvise at least to some point. They have private restructuring of their instrument. They're part of a band. We have 4 bands, each in different genre. They create some electronic music. So it's really intense.
In the castle, I bet.
Yeah. We did it online only this year, so that was a whole other animal, but worked as well. And then we do several one-day workshops throughout the year, and like community meetups. Now we have a community, a little more than 100 students who come to the workshops or who are our alumni, and they're getting accepted to really good music colleges across the world, and they are still encouraging each other. And so what's next for us is in 2 years we're opening a music institute, and if all goes as we hope it will, then it will be something like a gap year option for students, so they can go and study with us for 1 year after they're done with high school and before they go to college. So and can help them even choose if they want to continue with music or prepare them for college, or just give them an intensive year of immersing themselves completely in a creative approach to music.
I just gotta say, it's so amazing how you went out abroad and you studied so hard and you're bringing it back to your country. It's definitely an example, and it is very inspiring. And so now you not only created this opportunity for yourself, but you're also creating it for people who are in those shoes like you were, let's say, like 10 years ago or so. And Bratislava and Slovakia is very lucky to have you. Such passionate teacher. So now you guys gonna start the music institute, and is it gonna be in Bratislava?
No.
Where is it going to be?
Looks like it will be in a small town.
Okay, well, that sounds good.
Yeah, as a part of another school.
Well, Slovakia is not that big, so you can just drive.
Exactly. Yeah, and at least there are no distractions.
Yeah, awesome. So who are the people? So these are the high school students who are interested in music and already practicing. They will have to audition, and they will have an opportunity to study 1 year and decide, do they want to pursue music and go choose music major, or they don't, right?
Yes.
And do you guys have already decided on your professors, the teachers who are going to teach, or is it going to be just 3 of you, or how is it going to be?
So since this is in 2 years, it's not all super clear yet. We're kind of waiting to see what exactly we'll have in terms of equipment. So, you know, if we'll be able to have a studio immediately, we'll definitely teach music engineering. If not, then it will be more performance, improvisation kind of focused composition. So that is for sure. I think that performance will be there, composition will be there, improvisation will be there, and we already have the teachers who teach these summer workshops. So there's like a group of 8 of us who have the same values, click really well, and kind of really go the same direction. So that's awesome. I think the core teachers are kind of there, and then we'll see, depending on what we have, who we can invite, perhaps from abroad as well.
Maybe I can come give a workshop in a couple of years.
Oh, you will. If you want to.
I'm not that far. I'll go visit my mom, and then I'll take a flight to Bratislava. Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And I actually can't wait, more years to pass. And then we're going to have this network, Yoshi will be doing and Maria is doing. And, we all around our Allegra, Zaili, we all like spread, and we can go visit each other and teach in different places. It's awesome to see how the fruit is being riped.
Oh.
Well, this is a great idea, and I remember you talking about it, talking about the school even when we were at Berkeley. You already mentioned that, and I think that was your kind of like a purpose throughout the school as well. And we have a comment from Julie Seeger. She says, "I wish I could go to that school." Hi, Julie.
Invited.
Julie invited. Thank you, Julie, for watching, and thank you everyone who is watching. And now, since we're kind of like approaching the end, I was asking Esther, would she be generous and sing a song for her? So will you sing a song for us?
I will sing a song.
Okay.
I will move you to the piano. This is the piano I was practicing on all of my childhood.
Yeah, that's a totally sentimental.
Yeah. And I have never performed live on it because I always have my keyboard. So let me see how that goes. Okay, can you see me? Can you see the piano? And can you hear me?
Yes, and would you mind telling a little bit about the piece?
Yeah. So this piece is my original composition, and I wrote it my first year of master's. So this is 3 years ago, and I was in a pretty difficult place of my life at the time, and I think I was very tired just by shallowness of relationships, of people, and I just felt like I saw a lot of emptiness and shallowness, and this is really what it's about, kind of longing for something more. And it's called Thirsty, which is how I called this feeling of shallowness and what I talked about before. As the happy hour, we take a picture of our fancy drink and put our favorite filter on, hoping it will hide all our baggage. Later we excuse ourselves to see that anybody like it. We take a sip, we small talk for a bit, we go home and we feel empty, so we small talk some more over texts. I don't want this drink anymore, though it looks colorful and tasty. For a moment it refreshes me, but deep inside I'm even more thirsty. We overshare our holidays. We don't dare to bare our souls. We mark our anniversaries, but not admit we're growing older. We'll refine our profiles rather than ourselves. We fight for our followers, but ignore our true battles. The more connections we make, the more lonely we are. I don't want this love anymore, though it looks colorful and tempting. For a moment it refreshes me, but deep inside I'm even more thirsty. We want a warm body and not a person. We are used to buying things, and if they don't work, there's always an update that's cheaper than the repair. We want the thrills, we want the benefits, no labels, just the flow. We aim, we catch, we throw, and if someone gets too close to break the rules of our game, we run away. I don't want this life anymore, though it looks colorful and tempting. For a moment it refreshes me, but deep inside I'm even more thirsty. Thank you.
Deep. I really felt the presence. You know, it's deep. Thank you. I think that everyone who are listening, I wish we could be there live. I mean, not in your parents' house, but like overall.
Come over.
Come over. But I'm sure, you know, hearing it in person, it's even stronger. But I can definitely feel the calling and the, you know, the true heart. Thank you. Thank you. It is inspiring. Thank you, Esther. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful song. Thank you. I appreciate you sharing it with us. Beautiful words. At this point, with this beautiful note, I want to thank everyone who joined for our coffee conversations today. We had Ester Wiesnerova from Slovakia, and she's currently in Slovakia. She is a jazz vocalist and a composer and an educator who is starting a school in Slovakia for people who try to pursue music as their musical career. And I'm going live every Saturday at 12:30 New York time. And I'm inviting friends who are inspiring to me, who I look up to, and I think that I can learn from them, from their manifestation of integrity and daily manifestation of practice. And love for craft and love for practice and love for discipline and growth. And they're not only holding it for themselves, they're sharing it. And Ester is a pure example of that, which I'm very grateful for. And next weekend, we will have another artist, and we will have a violin player from Latvia, Aija Reke. Aija, we met in Boston. Aija performed on my Joan of Arc score, and she's a wonderful violin player, and I'm excited to have a violin player. I didn't have violin players in these coffee conversations yet. I had harpists and oud players and singers and composers and producers and trombone players, but first violin player. So please tune in next week, next week at 12:30 on my artist stage. And I want to thank Ester one more time for joining us and sharing a beautiful song. This video was recorded and it will be available within half an hour on YouTube. So for those who couldn't catch it, they can see it on YouTube after. Thank you, Ester.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
And may I just say that I've been so grateful for these coffee conversations that Simona is holding, and I think it's a great idea. And also, most of the people I kind of crossed paths with at Berkeley, and I haven't talked to some of them for quite a while, and it's so nice to see how, you know, we all kind of met there, and it influenced us all in so many ways. And then looking back, how the perspectives change, and, you know, just where people are in their life. So I've been really grateful for that. Thank you. It's really been a source of inspiration. And also, Simona, you, even already at Berkeley, I mean, I remember, I think how I actually heard about you the first time was seeing your posters, because you had so many recitals all the time. And I remember just being like, who is this girl? Like, first of all, her name sounds like she could be from a country close to mine. And then I would always like look at who's playing with you, and I'm like, those are probably good musicians, because like she knows who to pick, so I should play with the same people. So really, what you, and then, you know, I saw a lot of your shows and heard your album and all that. So just, yeah, thank you for being an inspiration for us as well. I think it goes definitely both ways.
Thank you. It does go both ways. Thank you, Ester. And I wish you all the luck with your school, with your performing, with your composition, and I'm looking forward to go visit your school and maybe give a workshop at some point. And if people are looking for, are you open for collaborations? If people are looking for composers or singers, where can they find you?
Mm-hmm. So either on my website, www.esterwiesnerova.com, or I'm on Facebook and Instagram, and I try to reply to all the messages. So if you're interested, I would be happy to hear from you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, everyone who joined. Thank you, Ester, and have a wonderful weekend. And I'm looking forward to see all your future projects and see you in person sooner than later.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.